Hello everyone, this is Dan again. We are on week 11 already, and actually it's week 12. I apologize. Boy, time's flying when you really have a great time. So it's good to see and talk to everyone again today. We are looking at our story. It's kind of a short one today. We're talking about blessing of children and blessing many times. I've actually been in very different areas. We've actually can find that there are ceremonies and activities, events that are surrounded by blessings. Maybe if I was down south, I remember hearing blessing of the fleet when I was down in the Gulfport, Mississippi for beginning fishing seasons. I've heard during the springtime, moving into summer, we had blessing of the bikes or riders, as far as for those people who are motorcycle enthusiasts. And so in turn, there's our plenty of blessings. But today we're going to be talking about blessing the children. So in today's story, Jesus is talking to the disciples, and actually, there are some things in the story that may be something that we talk about, that we really think, how do we treat our children and how we actually should be treating them. So in today's story, Jesus taught his disciples at home in Capernaum. And while they were walking throughout Galilee, one day the disciples argued which one of them was the most important. Jesus tried to help them understand that serving others is more important than being first. They traveled into the region of Judea and across the Jordan River. Again, crowds of people followed him, and he stopped to teach them. People were bringing children to Jesus so that he would bless them. But the disciples scolded them. When Jesus saw this, he grew angry and said to them, "Allow the children to come to me. Don't forbid them, because God's kingdom belongs to people like these children. I assure you that whoever doesn't welcome God's kingdom like a child would never enter it." Then he hugged the children and blessed them. That's our story today. Like I said, it's a very short one. So in today's story, we're talking about Jesus and blessings. So we'll kind of look a little more about stories. In today's society in North America, it can be difficult to see how Jesus welcoming and blessing children is kind of a new idea. But at that time, it seemed to be so. Children today are loved and cherished, the focus of the parents' attention, and often all those around them as well are intentioned on the children. It seems like today, natural for Jesus to gather these adorable little ones onto his lap and bless them. Seems like normal. However, children were held in a different place culturally in the first century. Children were seen as powerless, weak, and vulnerable. They needed to learn their subservient place. Beatings of children were common. Parents surely loved and valued their children, but through a different lens than the one that we have today. I was actually saying pretty much children were somebody that needed to be listening to the parents and be trained appropriately, and they needed to be like servants and obey appropriately and that type of thing and follow the rules accordingly. It's obviously today we certainly want to make sure that we give our children the best that we can today. So it is a little bit different. I'm certainly looking at our story today. So certainly let me ask a few questions. First, let's start off. I wonder what Jesus meant at the beginning of our story when he was said, serving others is better than being first. Well, I'll have to say, I certainly don't always I certainly grew as I grew older. I certainly, I was a younger person. I would have to say that I was really thinking about myself first and maybe my family first and before I started thinking about others. It was just a matter of, I went to the healthcare field, and actually I was treating patients and taking care of people. That became actually a second nature, that I actually was more of a servant to others rather than finding that it was actually beneficial or something that I wanted to do is look out for myself first. So it became that commonplace, even especially coming as a parent. You start thinking of children first and your family first. And so things do change as far as that. And you don't think about that selfishness about I want my share and about me type situation. And it starts becoming about thinking about community, family, and friends. And so it's a really good thing as we start growing older. I know a lot of people say, yeah, we were old. We are old peoples. There are as many terms I know that you young people certainly call us. But nonetheless, there are things that we can teach and certainly do want to teach people that are younger. And it is, you believe it or not, that it is better to be serving others than it is better to be first. And it's something that we will learn in our time. So, the next one is, I wonder what Jesus said to the children when he blessed them. Well, as I said, there are many things, what is a blessing? We certainly will talk about that in a little bit. So certainly those words that we encourage them, actually, and knowing that we encourage them what they'll be in the rest of their lives. Certainly looking to get a blessing from Jesus, being the Son of God, certainly would be indeed a blessing. And certainly would make sure that they have good lives and are recognized as well. I wonder if you have ever argued about being first. Well, maybe you had a family member, you wanted to be first. Maybe you wanted to open the first Christmas presents. Maybe you wanted to be the first to blow out the candles on the cake. Maybe you wanted to be the first to get the ice cream. Did we ever ask to be first? I don't know. I certainly can imagine that I certainly asked for that when I was younger. I had a family of 6, 4 other brothers and 1 sister. Certainly I'd like to have said that I would like to get in the first as far as getting new clothes rather than getting hand-me-downs. There are so many things that we'd like to be first when we hear that. But nowadays, I don't necessarily think that way, but certainly it's understandable to see how people may be arguing about wanting to be first. And so, even today, we're looking at people wanting to have COVID vaccinations, and we certainly all want to get back to normal. And I can certainly see how people might want to be first and get that done, so they can certainly say that they can get back to their lives. And certainly that is something I can understand. Certainly, I do understand making sure that we follow those priorities and making sure we care for those who are older and maybe sick and things of that nature. So we really do need to make sure that we care for them too as well. So that is pretty much it for our story, and just talking about digging a little deeper into our thing there. So if we go to our Spotlight magazine, let's go ahead and turn to page. We had a couple activities there. The first one was actually on page 9. Let me see, page 9. It says crisscross game. So really, this kind of game would be best if you were playing with somebody else. Maybe somebody in your family you could play with this. Pretty much what we're starting off, we have a couple words here. The first one here, it says, play crisscross with a friend. Take turns adding words vertically and horizontally to the grid. The words Almighty and Holy have been placed on the grid for you. On your turn, think of a word to describe God that contains one of the letters in Almighty or Holy. Attach new words by writing the letters in the boxes intersecting. So, words that would describe God. So, let's see. Certainly think about the words. I'd have to think about the few. Let's see. We can certainly say, for the letter L, we could say loving. So that Loving would fit in that area. And that's just one word. On the bottom below is also, say, play the game. Write words that tell about Jesus in the grid below there with a healer. So take some time. Maybe play with your parents. Maybe play with one of your siblings. Maybe play with a friend. Certainly go ahead and take some time to think about words that might fall in that area. I think, like I said, I thought of one word, but I'd really have to sit down and think about it for a while and come across with words that might be other words that we can come up with that one. The other page that we're going to be covering tonight is actually page 19. So as I said earlier, we're going to talk about page 19. It says, be a blessing. So, as we talked about, God had provided blessings to the children. So, a blessing is what? It is a blessing is a gift given by God to a person or people. When we bless people, we are asking God to give a gift to that person. This kind of gift isn't something that we can be held, but instead it is something like happiness, love, good health, or comfort. When Jesus blessed children, we don't know what the words Jesus said to them. Maybe he used words similar to these words found in the Bible. So if we're looking at the first one here, right there, it says here, may God be what you want most, and let all go well for you. Okay, well, let me get my verses a little bit better. So the next one is Numbers, that big circle in the middle here. A prayer that the Lord will bless and protect you, and that the Lord will show you mercy and kindness. May the Lord be good to you and give you peace. It sounds like a benediction for the church sometimes. And of course, we have going on to the bottom here, starting from the left to the right, we have John 3, 1, and 1, chapter 1, verse 2. Dear friend, I pray that all goes well for you. That's a pretty good one. The next one is Jude 1, chapter 1, verse 2. I pray that God will greatly bless you with kindness, peace, and love. And the last one on the page. Oh, taste and see that Lord is good. Happy are those who take refuge in the Lord. Wow. It's actually from Psalms in 34, chapter 34, 8 verse. Actually, it sounds like a song that we actually sang in the choir. Oh, taste and see. It was, I believe it was actually the name of the song. And it's really kind of a neat song too as well. But those are kind of some words that are really kind of hits home. Actually, gets me a little hungry, I guess. Oh, taste and see. All right. So what words of blessing might you write for a young child? Granted, you're a young person already, but maybe you can think what words that you might use that may relate and say that, hey, I really think about these individuals and want to make sure that they're blessed. Or maybe for an elderly neighbor, for a good friend or someone who is hurting. Write some of those words and blessings right down below here. Well, that is our lesson for us. We have one more lesson in the winter session here. We're certainly looking forward to doing a little more. We actually had Ash Wednesday last evening because this is a Thursday night. So our Lenten season has begun. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. What are Lenten activities that you'll be doing in your home? And maybe actually taking a look what the church is going to be doing at church. And maybe understand that we are actually moving from Wednesday service to Thursday Lenten services. So if you're going to be coming on in, keep that in mind and make sure you take a look at your schedule. Maybe you and your family can come in and do a Lenten service and take that in for your actually Lenten time. And so we'll look forward to speaking to you. You stay safe and healthy, and I hope everything's going well for you at home and in school. You take care now. Bye.